Good afternoon and welcome to Cloud 9 on ACTN The Voice. I am Sheldon Yearwood and thank you for joining us. And this is 5 at 5, your top 5 stories to 5 p.m. Well, I call this one Shake and Bake in the Cabinet. Well, another shake and bake toss-up in the Dr. Rowley administration as some ministers got a shake-up amidst the fire that has been lit under them for some time now. This as the Prime Minister has had yet another cabinet reshuffle with a few major changes, including what in the eyes of many is a demotion, as Minister Darrell Smith is now a junior minister in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. This comes on the heels of many calls for him to be fired amidst allegations of misconduct in public office, inclusive of alleged affairs with staff at the ministry. The position of Minister of Sports will now be held by former Minister of Tourism, Shampo Kojo, with the new Minister of Tourism being Minister Randall Mitchell. The Housing and Urban Development Ministry will now be led, yes, by our very own Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. This position is nothing new to the Prime Minister, as he once held this position as Minister of Housing from 2003-2007 under the then-led Patrick Manning administration. As it pertains to the Ministry of Public Administration and Communications, which the Prime Minister held on a temporary basis, the line minister, Maxi Coffey, who has been ailing for some time now, is the junior minister in that ministry, which will now be led by... I want to wait for the view. Coming yet? All right, well, led by Marlene MacDonald. What a story. Well, in an immediate response to the reshuffle by the Prime Minister comes outright condemnation by some individuals, including Devon Maharaj, who says Dr. Rowley is insulting the nation by trying to hide Minister Smith with a reassignment. He said it is nothing short of a naked attempt to hide the former Minister of Sports amidst the controversy highlighted in the media regarding serious allegation of his behavior in public office. Maharaj said instead of Minister Smith being removed and reprimanded, he has been rewarded and promoted within this very important ministry. He said it was only a few days ago Dr. Rowley expressed confidence in all his cabinet ministers, yet in less than a week, the population has learned more about the allegations about Minister Smith to be followed by the reshuffle. In 2010 and 2011, Maharaj said it was the very same Dr. Keith Rowley who went from pillar to post to advise the newly elected government, then under Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, that MP Jack Warner was not fit to serve as a minister given the allegations regarding FIFA and conflict of interest. Now, he says based on Dr. Rowley's decision, it shows that his politics has a morality of his own. Now a story we can breathe a little easier at this point in time. Well, once she was out of the blocks, it was all over, as Michelle Liahe commanded the lineup of some very powerful women athletics to capture gold in 100-meter at the Commonwealth Games this morning. Ahe made history for Trinidad and Tobago, securing the country's first female athletics gold medal in the Commonwealth Games with this victory. Ahe edged out the competition with a blistering time of 11.14 seconds. Grabbing silver with a time of 11.21 seconds was Jamaica's Christiana Williams, while bronze went to Guyon Evans, who clocked a personal best of 11.22 seconds. Stately athletes Khalifa St. Fort and Rhea Thomas placed 6th and 7th in the race, respectively. For those who missed it, let's take a look at what happened this morning.
Major title. Is she going to produce Trinidad and Tobago's first female athletics gold medal in the Commonwealth arena?
The crowd goes silent. We are set to go. The women's 100-metre final at the 21st Commonwealth Games here on the Gold Coast in Australia. More than 35,000 people wait with anticipation.
With long red dreadlocks and many tattoos as well, wearing the red of her country. Get that strong start.
Away in the 100-metre final, Michelle A.E. gets away to a very good start. The challenge, though, comes in the inside lane coming from Khalifa St. Fort, but it will be, in fact, the athlete from Trinidad and Tobago. History is made. History is made. Michelle Lee A.E. takes the gold medal in a very good time of 11.14 seconds. And isn't she delighted? done that.
She ran that race really, really well. I was saying out of the blocks in good timing. So congratulations, of course, to her. Now let's see how she will be honored. In other news at this time, Vancouver South MP Rishanathan Darasingh is calling on the Minister of Labour to bring proof that there were ghost employees within the OGT program under the People's Partnership government. Speaking at the launch of the ministry's website last week, Minister Jennifer Baptiste-Primus claimed that there were ghost employees at the OGT program under the People's Partnership. And Darasingh said Baptiste-Primus should provide documentary evidence, adding that these allegations and innuendos against the former government are simply to mask and cover the Rowley-led PN administration's incompetence and inability to govern the country. He said the country is saddled with a comatose government, ouch, which has embarked upon blatant schemes designed to continually distract attention from its many scandals and shortcomings. Darasingh said Baptiste-Primus is not the first cabinet minister to make this claim, adding that similar allegations were made in 2016 by Attorney General Faris Al-Rari, and he also failed to provide any type of documentary evidence to support the allegations. And they all just get along. In other news at this time, international news, that the Syrian government and its ally Russia have blamed Israel for a deadly attack on a Syrian military airport, and this was today. Monday's attack hit the Tyus air base known as AST-4 near the city of Homs. Observers say at least 14 people were killed. Israel, which has previously hit Syrian targets, has not commented up to news time. Syria initially blamed the U.S. for the strike. The incident comes amid international alarm over an alleged chemical attack on a Syrian rebel-held town. The U.S. and France had threatened to respond. We have more from the BBC.
Syria and its ally Russia have blamed Israel for a missile attack on a government airbase. The Interfax news agency said Israeli warplanes had carried out the strikes from Lebanese airspace. Monday's attack hit the Tyus airbase, known as T4, near the city of Homs. Reports say several people have died, some of them Iranian. This follows a suspected chemical attack on a rebel-held area near the Syrian capital Damascus, an attack that has been blamed on the Syrian government. Our correspondent Yolande Nell has been monitoring events from Jerusalem.
Well, the information we have is coming from the Russian Defense Ministry and also from the Syrians, and reports saying that 2 Israeli F-15 warplanes fired several missiles between midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning GMT at this airbase, which is in the center of Syria. It's the largest military airbase in the country. We understand that some of the missiles struck the western part of the airfield. Now, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which monitors events in Syria from the UK, it's saying at least 14 people were killed there, including Iranians. And we do know that at this particular airbase, as well as the Syrians, there are Iranians, also members of the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah, and also, of course, Russians as well. The Russians say that there were no Russian specialists that were injured in this incident. Here, the Israeli military spokesperson is declining to comment, but that is quite typical because we have had dozens of strikes carried out by Israel, we know, inside Syria in recent years, without, in most cases, the Israelis commenting on them.
Now, the US was very quick to say that it was not behind this attack, but do you think that the Pentagon might have known this strike was coming?
Well, certainly even the Syrians at first suspected that it was the US that was behind this airstrike after that warning from President Trump after a suspected chemical weapon attack in Douma, in the rebel-held town there, that President Bashar al-Assad would have a big price to pay. Of course, the US is an extremely important ally of Israel, so we could expect that the Israelis would tell Washington what they were planning. Also, perhaps the Russians too, because we do know that the Russians have in the past, besides having very good relations with the Israelis in general, they have got involved to try to de-escalate the situation, particularly back in February when actually Israel targeted this very airfield after an Iranian drone was said to have been flown into Israeli airspace. And that was actually one of the most recent dangerous flare-ups in this confrontation. We believe that Moscow got involved to calm the situation at that point.
You use the word de-escalation, Yolande, but that seems a little unlikely now, given also what President Trump has been tweeting about the man he calls Animal Assad, and the fact that his new security advisor, national security advisor, John Bolton, has just taken up the role today, and he's known for being very hawkish.
And indeed, and Israeli officials also have been coming out urging the US to take action against President Assad if, as seems to have been the case, his forces are found to have carried out this chemical weapons attack. Of course, it's about a year ago that the US fired cruise missiles at a government airbase in retaliation for another suspected chemical attack back in April 2017. So now there is there are a lot of people looking towards Washington, also towards the French President Emmanuel Macron, who has come out saying that there should be a strong response taken against the Syrian regime in this case. But Israel for itself makes clear that it has what it sees as its national security threats, its own red lines, and they are typically to try to stop any advanced weaponry being passed to Hezbollah, its sworn enemy, and also, of course, it's extremely concerned about Iran trying to establish a permanent military presence inside Syria.
And we've just heard from Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who says the overnight airstrike is a dangerous development. He has also insisted there is no sign of the Syrian government using chemical weapons in Douma. He said the area has been visited by our military specialists and representatives from the Syrian Red Crescent. They found no traces of chlorine or any other chemical substance being used against peaceful civilians.
Yeah, I'm looking at that story there, and as it develops, the phrase that comes to mind is nothing new under the sun. That comes to mind looking at that story. So we'll watch and see how it all unfolds. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about an NGO that I'm sure you would love to work with in the near future. Well, if you are not doing so already. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN The Voice? Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Merge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing.
But it's okay, because I got my own grace. I got my own grace. I don't need yours. I got my own. And I will not waste the grace of this day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I refuse to leave any grace misappropriated.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
But my first question was, roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua DeMatos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh.
What's that?
Welcome to this edition of The Interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Whoa, na 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 na, yeah, Yo, this is J Prince, and you're looking at ACTN The Voice. Stay locked. The blood of Jesus, oh, yeah, break every chain. Hey, the blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain.
Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN? The Voice. Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Merge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing. Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN? The Voice. Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Merge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing.
But it's okay, because I got my own grace. I got my own grace. I don't need yours. I got my own. And I will not waste the grace of this day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I refuse to leave any grace misappropriated.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
But my first question was, and roll back the tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
All by not tell me now.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua D'Amatos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh,
What's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Whoa, na 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 na, yeah, Yo, this is J Prince, and you're looking at ACTN The Voice. Stay locked. The blood of Jesus, oh, yeah, break every chain. Hey, the blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain.
Hi, welcome back to Cloud 9 on ACTN The Voice, always bringing you great programming. As you saw there a short while ago, the Emerge Gospel Challenge every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. right here exclusively on ACTN The Voice. And I was actually seeing someone making a comment on the post that they wish they could enter, but I think that's it, right, Ronnie? No, it's hard luck, Gil, pressure. Anyway, it repeats at Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on ACTN. And in terms of entering, RL, sorry. That is it. Until next season. Let's go to our Let's Chat segment at this time. All right, so when you're in a crisis, what do? What? No, you don't turn to ISIS. No, it's get the eyes a little mixed up here. So when you have a crisis, you don't turn to ISIS. It's a different eye. You have to seek insight. And you seek insight from where? From the Word of God. And that is what this organization has been doing for years to deal with the crisis of different proportions happening within the Marbella area and environs. And because of seeking insight from God, well, what was birthed out of that was the Marbella Family Crisis Center. And to welcome on set at this time, I have Mr. Terence Vozet. He's the founder and CEO of the organization. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Great.
Thank you for coming. I had the pleasure of doing a little project with them some years ago in a hosting capacity. And that is when I really got to know. And the funny thing is, you know, living in Marbella all these years, and I think at that time I realized that they were the best kept secret in terms of, you know, what is being done in the area. So after some years, we kind of reconnected again. I said, you know what? Let's show people the good work that's being done by people in this country just for the love of it. So thanks again and welcome the Marbella Family Crisis Center. So let's start from the beginning. What really, you know, what really caused this whole foundation to be birthed? What really was an experience you had? You saw a need. What really happened, and how long have you been in existence?
Well, before I give the details, I could just make one statement and the show could be ended.
Well, I have a real talking to do. Go ahead.
Just by saying, yes, we are in crisis. The world is in crisis. And at the crisis center, our mantra is Christ for the crisis. To your question, I would like to say, you know, I grew up with a mother, grew up in Pity Valley, that's where I was born. So I'm a Westman. So like,
Listen,
Pity Valley.
South man, no,
Yeah. Yeah, during that period, you know, my father used to work at Tiantec, and my mother would get up early in the morning to make lunch for him to take to work. So I would get up with her, and she too would always be giving things to people. And most of the time, I used to be admiring her how she doing that in the whole neighborhood. And you know, sometimes I used to be doing it as well with her. So I think that's where it was birthed.
So from young, you were sort of, it was part of your DNA to just always help and to give.
Of course, but it wasn't something institutionalized or organized. She was getting it out of her own goodwill, out of her heart. She was doing that. And then, you know, I kept myself doing it unconsciously until I, well, all during that time, during the Pity Valley area, corporate carnage. But I went to school in Belmont, and I did it in Mova and other places. And I believe that God was preparing me for something big. And He actually wanted to move me from down there and come into Marbella. And if I ever need to make any choices to live anywhere else, Marbella will always be my first choice.
Why Marbella? When God sent you here, I mean, you had no idea what you were coming into.
That is
so. Like taking that leap of faith. So when you got to Marbella, what was the first thing you realized that, you know what, I need to plant my roots there?
Yes. Well, I met my wife.
Yeah. See where the roots start?
As a crusade, yeah.
Go ahead.
But it weren't in Marbella in the first instance. I guess coming back to putting back my thoughts together, yes, it started in Marbella. And then I moved on to other places like Faidabad and Labray where we had crusade, a roving kind of thing, and I was there. And it started really like I met her in the tent, and asked her what she was doing here so early, very politely, and she said she was waiting for Mr. Wright.
Oh, boy.
And the rest was history.
History?
Yeah, and I take a liking to the train line because people sort of stigmatize the train line. And when I went down there, just like the Labantil kind of situation. So when I went down there, I realized that is not so. I was all embracing, and we started with a program called Meals on Wheels on a Sunday where we go for lunch from those who have. And Mr. Carl Mattis, who was in charge of the welfare, as the person at the time, chief welfare, and we used to go down and do a lot of work. And then the Seventh-day Adventist Church, it was an ad hoc thing. Then we put some system in place, and the church used to be with us as well, and other people in the community, other churches as well. And from that, we moved into a program called the SHARE program. That's with the government, the Ministry of Social Development. And then we started about hampers. So people get like 25 pounds of flour, rice. So, but you had to go and interview them to the home and then take them to the center.
Do a needs assessment and then...
need assessment, yeah. That is
and this was mainly on the train line?
Well,
it started there and then it kind of branched out?
Eventually, as with everything else with the crisis center, everything that we do from the life sport, we were the #1. We become champions. And then they extend our what we was given from 75, so we started to give 150, between 150 or 175. So that takes us now to St. Margaret, to Claxton Bay, to Pointe-à-Pierre, to Marabella, and there was a part in Marabella that we could not have gone because of the boundary. And they even give us the opportunity to do that as well, because as everything else, when we started to talk about football, we was properly well organized. So whenever the coordinators come and they check us out, everything was above board, everything was good, you know. And eventually they close the program and they bring what they call the food card. Well, of course, we have no control over that, so you have to go to the ministry department to get whatever assistance that you would need. But we normally refer people to that that part of the program that they don't know that we call the food card. They have another big name for it, but we still call it the food card. But that way I get their food anyway.
What I like about the program, and this is why we all have gifts that God has given us, is very much solution based. And when I came to the function years ago, what really impressed me above all was to hear of the background of some of these young men that are now part of the organization.
Yes.
And in looking at the news today, like where you would have back then, I'm sure even now, would go on the train line and meet with people and meet with the families, and you will see the light in their hearts amidst all the darkness. There are those who would only see the darkness because they're just looking on the surface. Do you think that it has become a bit more challenging for you to, let's say on platforms like these, to convince people, listen, these young men and even these young women that you're seeing out there who may be engaged in an activity, that listen, they can change? Do you think it's harder to convince them now because of what's happening?
I think it's much easier.
Why is it?
Because we have a lot of success stories.
Okay, so you use that as a pillar to stand up.
The young man who will be coming on, he's not from the Marabella train line, because we spread our wings so far and wide. He's from what they call the Pointe-à-Pierre train line. And he has a testimony, and he has some solution to some of the problems.
And that's why I'm glad you brought him, because I think people need to realize that there is still hope.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know?
Surely. Yeah.
I want to go to some pictures at this time. What I want to do is give you a chance to see some of the great work that they've been doing. So you're going to kind of walk us through.
Yes.
Let's go to the first set if we can, guys. And this, I believe, right, this is the 25th anniversary hamper and clothing distribution. Tell us about this day or this event that you all had, Mr. Voza.
Well, we are now 2018. Somewhere in 2015, 2016, we celebrated 25 years of 25 years, I would say, of seamless service.
Amen.
Without any kind of hitch, any kind of challenge, because I started by saying Christ for the crisis. And of course, we did solve many crises. You know, for example, let me just fast track from that to
let's go through the pictures where we can. Let's go to the pictures before we move on. So this is actually just some, of course, clothes being given out to the various families. So I guess messages were sent out, information in terms of
people have a natural gravitation to the crisis center.
Right.
So we don't have to do much advertising again. And they themselves who have their own
own network.
You know, their own network. Yeah, they
this
have
is the
that.
Staff. This is your staff here?
Yes, that's the staff and some volunteers. What are just showing that our strength is the OJT program.
All I came there, so a few members I came recently.
On the job training program. Without that, we are in some
these are some children from, I guess, from the area.
Right. Those are children from the area, and those are volunteers.
Right.
We never short on that. People always want
lots of clothes.
Yes.
And one thing I want to encourage us to just to stick up in when we have this shot here.
Yeah.
When you are giving, I'm just saying because I've experienced it.
Yeah.
When you are giving clothing to individuals, give clothes that you self will wear.
Sure.
Do not give things that you will not wear. I'm just saying that just to make a point, because sometimes I know NGOs will go through that. People might just, so from what I'm seeing, it looks good. So right, so bless the Lord. We'll say more clothes. There are lots of clothes, man.
Well, let me say this. We scrutinize every piece of clothing that comes to us. And these ladies love to do that. They say, Mr. Terry, you know, we had a sort out. They do the word sort out. And they themselves too, they wouldn't give something to a client that they wouldn't wear.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes when they bring things from home from themselves, it's things that they could still use. But sometimes when we have a little challenge, a little shortage, they will take things and bring it over as well.
Nice.
Both members,
This is the father and
volunteers.
son, I guess, I'm not sure.
Father
Okay.
and son. Yes.
Okay, all
yes,
right.
that's
Okay,
a father
nice.
and son combination.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
And then these are the hampers being distributed.
That hampers being distributed. And everything that we do, we try to have what we call a control environment. And we don't even have to do it, but we do it because, that is how we do things. Because when time people come into that crisis center, there's a certain level of respect. And people don't come here. We never had no kind of situations where people get out of control or people trying to challenge us or nothing to this sort.
I'm listening to you, and normally when you listen to NGOs, when they go to various media houses to speak about their success, but amidst that, they speak a lot about the challenges. And I think for you all, it's like you welcome the challenge because the success has outweighed it so much. So I am seeing whereby that you all have really made Christ your center, your foundation, your cornerstone, your everything in this project. Because yes, you're going to have seasons where things are going to be rough, but amidst it all, every day has been one of joy and pride, and people are coming to assist. So, I mean, I really want to congratulate you for that.
Yeah.
We have another one, the Grow Box project. Before we continue, let's go to those pictures as well. This is an agricultural-based project. So tell us about this, please.
Oh, this is a project that I love so much.
Smiling boys.
It brings back so many memories.
How old or how young? How old?
That would have been about, I would say, about 15 years ago.
Wow,
time
so
this
way back.
grew very quickly.
These are some big guys now.
Yeah, that situation there is, we believe in the hand out first. We give it the fish, and then we teach it to fish, and then we have what we call it the hands up. So that's an empowerment program. Most of these women end up going home and doing the backyard garden, but they still come to tend to what we had at the center because we use that as a showcase. And some of them, when they go to the market, they don't have to buy certain things because they grow at home.
Is this still a very active project that you have going on right now?
Right now, because of so many things that are happening right now, if you're coming by the center, you see, I just put something just going up to the center. That half a drum there, it's still there, but you have some real side now. No cooking and things that take place there by us in any kind of way. Them boys just cook and things downstairs. But people will come and they will see the side thing and they will cut piece and go with it whenever they come in, and that is the normal procedure thing that happens. But that, I would say, when with the share program, they was advising us to empower people. So you might only be seeing that there with the grow box, but we also had furniture. People came and they learned to repair and to build furniture. Some of them started business. We had one guy who was part of the program, and that's a success story. He moved on from doing maintenance work, but he's still doing maintenance work really, and he moved on now where he had his own business. They gave him a startup with a lawnmower, and then he moved on to other things. He was even a part of CPEP. Now he entered the massage therapy thing. He working at gym in Gasparilla, and he do a whole other sort of thing. Now he pay back the center by coming and do maintenance work first. So not all the time we have to pay. Whenever he can, well, we have to pay somebody else, but he don't take money from us.
That's good. And we have this next picture coming up. This would be of course, this is like a major part of who they are. That's the football team. The picture coming up next of the junior football side.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about the football team as well. The junior football team. You're seated a bit. Yeah.
The football team, the junior football team, is what I will call our future, and that is the investment. However, when they reach a certain age, we have no control because we don't use really football, but we have that in the pipeline. We don't use football as a sport. We use it as an alternative to drugs and crime. You would have heard about the 15-year-old who was shot by the police.
Yes.
Some time ago, and you would have heard about the police officer who was shot. Now, that was a bittersweet experience for us. And it pained me because...
I guess he was part of the center.
Yeah, the police officer he just finished his 2-year tenure as an OJT. And he wanted to be a police officer. And he kept telling me to see how I could assist him. And I did, with recommendations and other things and follow-ups and that. And, he would have known those youngsters because they actually lived by me literally. And when I got the news, I was surprised and I was shocked. And, this social media thing network, people calling and asking me if this is Anand, that was the police officer. And if it's a youngster by name, they call him by his alias name. And you know, we didn't roll over and die or say, well, make any derogatory comment or anything like that. We know that our thing is to take care of people, the family that is in crisis. That is first and foremost.
I think that's before we take the break and bring on our next guest, I really want to give him some time to speak, in that you understand that, again, we are living in crisis, but there's a solution. I think because you understand that even amidst all of what's happening and all the storm that's around you, you understand where your peace comes from, and you understand what God is doing through the organization. So that's key.
Yeah, that's true. But I just want to make this
go ahead.
This comment here, however, and I'm very proud of it in terms of right now we are one of the first 4 teams in the National Super League that became compliant. And now there's 13 teams. Now, because the Crisis Center is a diverse organization, the only one of its kind I would say maybe in the Caribbean. You don't come to the Crisis Center with any kind of situation and we cannot deal with it. If we can't, we will do the networking. But right now, I want to make a call to the Marbella community, the business community, and by extension, Trinidad and Tobago. We need to get $45,000 by the 30th of April, but we didn't set that date at the 30th of April.
That's for the compliance.
That is for the registration to play. So you'll find big clubs like Police and Central FC and plenty clubs cannot play because they didn't meet the compliance requirement.
Wow.
We did it because we organized, we got our audited statement. So I want to make a strong case and a plea for people to come out and help us with that. We had a meeting with the mayor, we meet with the councillors, all the councillors contact with us. We will be going to David Lee, we will be going to everybody, because we're not going to say this is one party and this is the other. No, this is Marbella community, we are a family, and we're going to everybody, and we're going to do whatever we can. The next guest here, Joshi will say more about that, how we're going to deal with it, because he himself too have some international interest with him outside. And the money that we're looking to raise to get him there, it's outside of our reach. So he will be talking more about that than I will.
You know, they said when a family is in crisis, they will come out to help, but let's see what happens, what's going to happen here. You say, put your money where your mouth is, and I'm saying put your money where your heart is, right? And if your heart is in the right place, then therefore you'll want to assist an organization like this.
One more point, final point I'd like to make. Something that really touched my heart. We had our training in the Marbella Recreation Ground on Tuesday. And what we recognize happening is while the senior players were training, the younger guys went on another part of the field and they were mirroring what the seniors were training. And that touched me so much in terms of I was hoping that it wasn't something negative that we were doing. And they were doing it because we always been harder to get off that negative influence that connect with them. So having said all of that, I want to make the appeal, and I want to say we made a good start. What the Super League did is that you must have a junior team. If you don't have a junior team, you lose 3 points. And I feel so good. I feel so good to go and watch them play on Sunday in the stadium. And they collect 3 points already in the first game. They beat San Fernando Academy 3-0. And they bring the first trophy to the Crisis Center. I can't remember the name of the organization that held it. But they win again just prior to that. And, you know, we are proud. And because they're mirroring the seniors, now we want the seniors to let them set the pace. So that the first thing is to get our $45,000, and then we move on. Whoever we play in the first game, we target them to be victorious in the first game.
All right, well, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to introduce this young man who has benefited from the organization. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN The Voice? Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Emerge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing.
But it's okay, because I got my own grace. I got my own grace. I don't need yours. I got my own. And I will not waste the grace of this day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I refuse to leave any grace misappropriated.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
But my first question was, and roll back the tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh,
What's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Whoa, na 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 na, yeah, Yo, this is J Prince, and you're looking at ACTN The Voice. Stay locked. The blood of Jesus, oh, break every chain. Hey, the blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain. The blood of Jesus, break every chain.
Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN The Voice? Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Merge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing.
Hi, welcome back to Cloud9 on ACTN. Again, just a reminder of the Emerge Gospel Channel. I think episode 1 went already. And this Sunday will be episode 2. That's episode 2. That's Sunday at 6:30 p.m. and repeats every Thursday at 10 p.m. The Emerge Gospel Challenge. We welcome on set at this time a young man who has benefited from being a part of the network of the Marabella Family Crisis Center, Mr. Kieran Mason. If you respect, do some Mr. Kieran Mason. I mean, let's just jump right on the blocks here and tell us about, as much as you like to say, about your life before you got involved with the center and, where you are today.
Okay, well, I would like to start by saying, well, I grew up in Marabella, then after moved to Pleasance Park, and then after I came in contact with the crisis center when I was about, I would like to say 11 years. And well, I was always around my Mr. Terry, always talking to him. He would always have something positive to say to me. So I started playing football, started taking little football classes and things at the Marabella Family Crisis Center. And then after, well, one day Mr. Terry, he spoke to me and he says he saw something in me then. He saw a lot of potential in me, and then after he decided to really work with me to get me where I need to be today. And from that, he has really impacted my life positively. Well, I was going down the wrong road. He brought me back. I learned a lot about church and stuff. He teach me a lot of stuff, really.
So when you say so, at one point in time, you felt yourself kind of gravitating back into the life of the world and doing the wrong things. And what about, where are you now in terms of your football career?
Well, right now, well, I played with the national team from the age of 15 till the under 20. And I also played with Shiva Boys College. I also played with Naparima and W Connection youth team as well. And right now I'm training with the Marabella Family Crisis Center. And hopefully in the near future I would go outside and get a contract. In the near future.
You will?
I will.
You will, you will, you will. What would you say to, because you mentioned going down a particular road,
Yeah.
what would you say to other young men right now who may be on that very deadly transition of going back but not going forward? What would you say to them right now to say, hold up, pump your brakes? It has something, because many of us could talk it, but you would have walked the walk. You would have been there. So what would you tell them?
I believe, well, like, I was provided with the opportunity then. So you have to provide like something so they can like get a mind off whatever they're doing and find something else for them to do, because you can't just tell them stop going down that road. And if them seeing benefit from that road, they would not
And when
stop.
you say that road in terms of the drugs,
Yeah,
this,
the
that,
drugs
again.
and the,
Right.
so you have to provide like something for them to play for then.
I like the word he used though, because at the end of the day, we know, quote unquote, the enemy likes to play mind games with us, right? And if it is we don't, as you say, present something different for them, then these games are eventually going to end up to a point where you're going to say time out and that's it. What you all have been doing at the center, Mr. Voss, is that you all have been showing them that one, life is not necessarily a game, because you made the point that the football is more than just to teach them how to play football, but to teach them about life and what life has in store. And that's what I got from what he's saying.
Yeah.
That once you show and you present them with something as an alternative, they will gravitate. What has the reason? Now this is just one, but I've seen many young men. What has the response been over the years? Are you seeing more and more young men like him coming to the center? Or, again, because of different influences? I know some NGOs will say it's getting tougher. What do you say?
What I would say is that Joshi is a role model. Yeah. And I could even go further to say he's an ambassador. And I could even go further to say that he is a man of God.
Amen.
Now, we have plenty of challenges. You wouldn't like to see the living conditions with where they are right now. Right? And we want to house other youths. We don't have the capacity. We have application and right now with self-help, right? And most of the time, Joshi could tell you, I just bring people to take a look at it, but, that's as far as it goes.
That's people in general? Or?
People generally who I think in some cases, because they are good humanitarian sort of things, that they would come and because I am a visual person, so I want them to see. I don't want to tell them that them boys have no windows downstairs.
Come and see for yourself.
Come and see for yourself. Right? After last night, I spent some time there with them.
Which part?
Downstairs in their quarters where they stay. Yeah, they live. I have four of them living there, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we end up at 7. Well, last night I had an experience where one of them, who came from Palaceco, he came and he jumped over the gate and he came in and he had a rest because he went to play a football game and he would not get transport. I just get up early in the morning and go and walk. So 4 o'clock he come upstairs, knocking my door. I just stay upstairs in a little area, right? I want to stay there. I choose that. I have a house with my son here alone in the house now, but that's where I am, and that's where I'm comfortable. And at the end of the day, I walk out the road with him. So I'm still saying that he still could have come back after years, and he passed his time. And he was still able to come in, get a rest, get up in the morning, and move with me and walk, and then get a car to go home. So even during, we were in charge of presentation college 2005, 2007, like when they get relegated. We formed our coaching squad and we went in there and all what we tell Perez we will do, we did it. So you see when Perez get relegated and nothing wasn't happening, we did it. So I'm not saying this as a boast, I'm saying this, one of our strengths at the crisis center is to build. But when we went there was an old rundown dilapidated place. It was a rundown, dilapidated place. And I sacrificed my family. My wife wasn't too happy with it. Because whilst we were doing that, people was taking, they don't know me, so I have all right, they will take, they don't know what this man doing, they just coming from nowhere and taking this place. But God was always in control. And now we have what we call an established center. What I'm proud of, if I should go to the football a bit again, Crisis Center, as I said before, is the 4th team that was able to have the compliance and things ready. And out of how many teams? Only 13. We are there. And I will endorse and I will want to say this again, I'm calling on the corporate community, the Marabella community. If we had to get $45,000, all we need to do is 10 men to put $5,000 each. And that's an investment that will pay eternal dividend, because you yourself, to whoever gives it, the Bible says when you give to the poor, you lend to God. So it's an investment that they will benefit from it anyhow.
And you know, at the end of the day, I'm going back to the grow box and the whole concept of sowing seed and reaping, you know, good fruit comes to mind. And you know, I'm listening to what you're saying there, by so much sacrifices you made to sow into the life of this young man, given his situation and where he's living even right now. And what we're seeing here is the fruit. You've watered the plant over the years, you've nurtured it, you've fed it right, and now it's bearing good fruit that not can only feed him, but he can now feed others as his career blossoms. And when we go back through the Bible, because you know, the perfect example to use, you see that all the time in terms of sowing and reaping and casting your bread out in the water and leaping out in faith. And you're living testimony of that. And I really want to say thank you for what you're doing. And again, and I will say to the corporate sponsors out there, this is a worthwhile. And if you want an example, you know, we love to talk, and we have the rabble rousers when things happen, and we say nobody is doing nothing. So, and this is, no, I'm saying we hear it all the time. We wait and we wait to do something, and we all have a gift, and we all have something inside of us to give back and to do. The question is, when are we going to put feet to our prayer? Are we going to really activate our faith and do something about it? And that is what is being done through this organization, right? So what's next for the Crisis Center in terms of, outside of the football and stuff, what other projects do you all have on the floor right now?
Well, we have what we call a very effective homework club. And again, we target the train line children. And on a Friday night, we have what we call an empowerment meeting. It started as a youth empowerment meeting, and Joshi is one of the main men there, right? He is the man who will pray, and he will influence the young people that come into the meeting. So what has happened now, the homework club, we recognize that the children parents coming and saying how the grade going up. Now we don't call it homework internally, we call it home work.
And all these are volunteers to work on.
The OJTs and volunteers.
Right.
Why we say home work? Because we are doing the home work that the parents supposed to do with the children. The parents do have the capacity to do it. And we just see them, you know, moving on and moving up. And as I talk about just now, that is the nurturing part of the thing that we normally do.
And there's a vicious cycle. I mean, there was about 2 years, just under 2 years ago, we did an evangelism outreach on the same train line. And trust me, there are some families that are really trying. Don't get it twisted. It has some, you're going to have as in any aspect of society. It's just some areas they know how to mask it well. Right? Where in the train line, they don't have to mask it. I'm being real. Right? So, but there are families who are really trying. The thing is, can we get beyond what we see here and start seeing here? That's the catch. All right? So I'm really glad that you all are brave and bold enough to go down there and see beyond the hate and see beyond, because again, there's a root of bitterness because of what was sown into their lives. So now that you all are sowing something differently, you're not going to get bitterness. You're going to get sweet fruit, good fruit to eat. So we're going to give at least a minute to close, Mr. Voss. Again, thank you so very much for coming. What would you like to say to those, not so much the corporate, but there are people, I am sure, who may not know about the center. They may have heard, tits and bits here or there, but by looking at the program today, I'm sure they have been given a whole more in terms of a wealth of information that of course will benefit them. But what will you say to those individuals, mothers, fathers, children, who they want to come, but they don't know the process? What will you say to them at this point?
Well, we have an open door policy. They can contact us at 498-4394 or call command letters MFCC 1992@live.com. That's our email address.
What's that?
MFCC, all command letters, 1992@live.com.
Live?
Yeah,
okay.
live.com. Now, further to that, most organizations, the founder of the organization, like, oh, I am a sort of a laid-back person and doing it because I feel it's a duty and it's a calling from God. The advertising part of it and the promotion part of it is something that we have to look into. We have a board of professional directors, right? So we have to look into that and get it more out.
People will know who you
are. Yes, and the service, they know who we are because the football, football take us over Trinidad and Tobago. But they said the services, they know of the services. Because they come from all over. They know of the services, but there's still plenty room for improvement.
And that corporate plug.
And the corporate plug, that is so. And we willing to give the we located on the fence line of the stadium, which make it the Mecca sport. Now we can't even do our youth program because the fence has fallen down, it's dilapidated, and ball going the road, and when ball going the road, behind a ball is a child, and most drivers not conscious of that. So we don't want to take too much risk, so we had to do it under heavy supervision. Sometimes I take my chance because the football is a magnet just over the road, the neighborhood, and they go on there playing his little brother. It's school time now, they're going across there, and it's a risky business. So I want to make the call again for people to come on board.
And I'm going to give our young man here a chance in terms of, I want to ask you one quick question. God has become the center of your life. What would you say to those young men and women out there who don't understand about that relationship with God? What would you say about God in your life that continues to keep you even when you go through those challenging times?
Well, God really keep me from, going on the wrong track, because like when nobody there, you could still talk to him. You could still talk to God. Like he always there for you. Like sometimes, like even when you do wrong, he always seems to forgive you and bring you back on the right track. So my advice would be, try your best. Nobody imperfect, but even if you try, God will help you along the way. So just try your best.
Try. I love it, because at the end of the day, you're never alone. And that's key. When God is with you, you are never alone. So gentlemen, thank you very much. This will not be the first you're going to see in terms of highlighting the great work that they are doing. Mr. Vozek, thank you very much. Great work to you and your entire team, the volunteers, the OJTs, everyone, the entire staff. I met them recently, had a nice little talk with them. I love what they are doing. And of course to you, Mr. Mason, thank you very much. And continue to make God the center of your life and stand on his word, everything that he has promised you. Okay? So this has brought us to the end of Cloud 9 on ACT and The Voice. I am Sheldon Yewo. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you.
Who will emerge this April exclusively on ACTN The Voice? Over 183 submissions, countless videos, but there can only be one winner. Get ready for the biggest gospel talent show, Merge Gospel Challenge. The fun and games are over. Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. exclusively on ACTN The Voice. ACTN The Voice. Check your local TV listing.